For those of you that have been watching this build, you know, the last few videos I've just kept saying, waiting on the radiator, waiting on the radiator. Well, it has finally come. It is now, oh, here's Rowan, he's helping me with the bushings. Doing good? Yeah. So I ordered this in May, and it is now almost September. Finally got it like a week ago. But that means that now I can put the core support on, radiator fans on, and it'll tell me where my engine's gonna sit, how far I can bring it forward, and then it'll tell me where I need to drill a hole for my tunnel. So all this has been stemming on waiting for the radiator to come in. Oh, nice, good work, dude. And now that it's come, I can finally make progress on this truck. So let's get the core support on, and then we can put radiator on and work from there. All right, well, we have the radiator and the shroud in. Don't have fans in yet. They're sitting right there in the boxes. So I just wanted to see what this is like. So I guess first thing first, we're going to get the shroud connected onto the radiator and then get the fans on. Then we will really see what we have room here, but I can tell I can move this engine quite a bit forward, which will help me just about everywhere. So let's get everything on the radiator, and then we can worry about moving the engine forward. Doink, doink. All right, I have the fans mounted on to the shroud. Just drilled some holes, mounted them like so. Now we just need to mount the shroud to the actual radiator, and then we can put it on the truck. Well, looks like we are going to have plenty of room here. I would say I could probably come forward a good 3 inches and it'd be perfectly fine, which is actually probably gonna help. It'll help for sure on the mounts here. I think it might give me more room to clear the AC compressor. And I think that would definitely give me more room here on the hump, because we were hitting right here. So I think going back just a couple more inches would give us plenty of room there. And then I think this header would actually do a little, I'd still have to notch, but moving it back I think would put it further underneath and might not have to notch as much there. So I think all around moving it a couple inches is going to help us a lot. So let's see if we can get everything adjusted and then reassess. Well, I threw the hole back in there, got it patched back in, because since we moved the transmission, we need to move the hole as well. So that probably needs to move 2 or 3 inches. Then what we got going on over here, the transmission cross member isn't able to slide forward enough, so I need to move the transmission cross member over. And of course, so there is, make sure I'm not gonna get attacked by a black widow. So far this looks good. Cool, can't even really see, but here's the transmission cross member. I just need to move it to these holes here, because as of now, yeah, it can't slide forward enough. So we need to fix that. And of course the truck's too low to come under, so it's lifted up. Got jack stands here, of course, always use jack stands, but yeah, I need to move that, which I don't really want to, but gotta do what you gotta do. Well, everything's looking good. That hole's like perfect. And this no longer hits, so that is really good. And then up here, we're still gonna have to notch there, but figured we would. Plenty of room here, a couple inches, and this will probably even go back another ½ inch, so plenty of room there. I'm curious to see how much closer we are with the AC compressor. I bet it'll be a lot closer to fitting. Now, we might be able to use the stock one, but there's smaller ones that you can buy, but I know for a fact I can make something work now. Before, it was pretty tight, so I was pretty nervous about it, but I think our clearances are pretty good now. I do think I'm gonna run the harness underneath the tunnel now. Before it was so tight, I was like, there's no way. But now we could just run it under there along the transmission and then put a hole right here, and I think it would look really clean. And then I don't have to worry about building something up here to cover up the harness here. It will just be underneath here, and I think it'll look really good. So finally, after a long time, finally making progress on this thing. We know where the engine's gonna sit, where the radiator is, and everything. So, man, we can start making progress again. Makes me happy. So, I guess first thing first. I think first, let's get this high hump all mounted and ready, and then I think I'm gonna mount this wiring. I want to mount it up here, so I think I'm going to put the fuse box and everything right there, but first let's get this high hump where it wants to be. All right, we have the transmission tunnel. It's just self-tapered in right now. I was going to weld it, but I decided that I'm just going to bolt it on, but I need riv nuts to do that, and I don't have any, so I'm just going to leave it how it is for now. It's solid. I made these relief cuts to try and get it to contour better to the cab. I think when I did this, it just changed a little bit, so making those cuts made it so that it could hug closer to the cab floor. And I also made little cuts here to help it be able to bend down further and easier, so I'll just weld all that back together sometime. But yeah, that is in for now. So I think for now I'm going to be moving on to this fuse block. I'm going to be mounting it under here, but I don't want to be welding any more into the firewall. I want it to be as clean as I can have it. So I found this piece of channel or whatever you want to call it. This will allow me to weld these nuts inside here. Then I can cut these off and weld them to the cab. And that should allow me to screw these into the firewall without having to go through the firewall. So I need to tack these up, cut them, and then weld them onto the cab, and the fuse block should be mounted. All right, just a few little tacks in there. Doesn't have to be super strong. We're not going to be cranking down on this. This is just to hold some plastic housing. So that should be good. Now we just need to cut these and figure out where we want to mount them in the cab. Well, I got my brackets welded on here. That is where the fuse block's going to sit. Now I have the harness over here, and I just kind of started going through it, separating all of the wires, and it is a little intimidating or overwhelming at first, but kind of like how you handle every other harness. You just do one wire at a time and work your way through it. So right now I'm just trying to decide how I want things to go through the firewall. And I guess before I do that, I'm gonna throw a fender on here and see where things are looking, kind of where I want my harness to come through the firewall, and I'd like to tuck it kind of along the fender or something so that it's more hidden. I don't want a super confusing cluster of an engine bay. I want everything kind of tucked more and neat looking. So I'm gonna throw this fender on and kind of see what we have. I'll probably need to do the fender liner as well, but we'll see. I don't know if this really gave me more clarification for the harness, but it definitely makes me excited to put this thing back together. A lot of work to do, and this is actually the first time I've had the fender back on since I did the rockers, and that gap's looking pretty good. So yeah, definitely not bad there. Happy about that. But I still think, yeah, I think I'm gonna come drill a hole right here where pretty much all my engine bay harness will come through, lights, pretty much everything. And then I'm sure there's probably gonna be some other engine bay stuff that I'll come through over here. But as far as the chassis, like headlights, turn signals, horn, all that, I think will come. And then they'll run along this fender. Maybe I'll tuck it underneath, but I want it to be as hidden as possible. So that is probably what I'll do there. I don't know for the tail lights and stuff if it's better to come through the cab and then exit out the back here somewhere, or if it's just better to come out here and go down and then along the frame to the back. I don't know. I'll have to do some research and see what people do there, but it's definitely exciting to see the fender on again. Haven't seen that in a long time. Well guys, I think I'm gonna end this one here. We made some progress here and I'm stoked about that. So next video, I'm gonna be starting to put the harness into the car and figuring out how I want to route things. But before I do that, I want to do a little bit of research and see how people are doing things. I like to get ideas. Even though I know every application is not the same, but it's good to have ideas on how other people did things and then kind of build off of there. So gonna do some research, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.